Hey, third graders, this is Miss Hensley back for a fourth try now to record this video for vocabulary. Just so you know, we all make mistakes. Miss Hensley has made mistakes 3 times before this, so we're on the fourth time. We're hoping fourth time is the charm today. All right, so we are going to learn some more science vocabulary today for Unit 3, our unit on what is so amazing about plants. And as always with our vocabulary, we're going with a language objective, and the language objective is L for language, 3 for third grade, dot 6, and that says that we will acquire and use accurately grade appropriate conversational, general academic, and domain specific words and phrases, including those that signal spatial and temporal relationships. What does that mean? Acquire. Acquire means we'll get or we'll learn. So we will learn and use accurately. We'll correctly use in conversation. Grade level appropriate, that means it's appropriate for third graders. Language, right? Words. We're going to learn and use new words that might just be conversational words. They might be general kind of academic words related to learning, or domain specific words like science words. Okay, so science words are domain specific. That means they apply to a specific area, and that's what we're going to work on today. So as always with all of our new things that we are learning, we have objectives, and I am going to say the objective, and then you're going to repeat it. And why do we have objectives? So we can know what we're learning and why we're learning it. So I'm going to say a domain, or I'm going to say it, and then you're going to repeat it. All right, let's start and hope I can make it through a whole video this time. My turn. I can learn scientific vocabulary. Your turn. My turn. So I can use scientific language in discussions and writing. Your turn. My turn. I am successful when I write all of the vocabulary words and their definitions into my notebook. Your turn. All right, so we're learning some new scientific vocabulary, science-related words that go with our unit on what's so amazing about plants. Why are we learning these words? So that we can talk to other people and write about the things that we're learning and sound like we know what we're talking about, right? Because we all want to sound like we know what we're talking about. You're going to start off this path to success today by just writing down the words and their definitions into your notebook, because that's your first step in learning these new words. Okay. As always, as each word appears, you're going to rate how well you know the word. If we were in class, you would definitely be holding up a finger to say, I really know that word, I can define it, that's a 1. Or I kind of know that word, I've heard it before, that's a 2. Or a 3, I don't know that word at all, I've never heard it before in my life. You're crazy, crazy woman, you're making things up, okay? So you might not want to just be like sitting in your room or at your kitchen table by yourself holding fingers up. You don't have to, you can. I just did, and I'm sitting in front of a computer by myself. So you can hold your fingers up. You can jot a little note down in your notebook. Maybe you want to put a little 1, 2, or 3 next to the word as you write it down to see how well you know it right now. And then you can compare that to how well you know it at the end of the week, at the end of the unit. And hopefully by the end of the unit, end of the week, you're saying, 1, I know that word very well. I can define it, because that's our end goal, okay? So our first word, and I will tell you, I started this video over because I'm like, am I on the wrong list? Our first science word for today, city. City, C-I-T-Y. Write that down in your notebook. Give yourself a little 1, 2, or 3 next to it. Or maybe just say it in your head how well you know it. A city, 2 syllables. City, city, is a noun. That means it's a person, place, or thing. It's a place, and it's a large town. So city, 2 syllables, city, is a noun meaning a large town. Okay? Many people live and work in large cities. That's your very first vocabulary word for this week. If you need more time to write it down, go ahead and press pause and then hit play when you are ready to move on. We're going to move on to our second word. And our second word for today, desert. Desert, Desert. How well do you know it? Desert, 2 syllables, desert, a desert. And you can see we're using the pronunciation key. It's got the little apostrophe to show that zert is the emphasized syllable, is a noun, and it means a hot, dry area where few plants grow. So a desert is a noun, and it means a hot, dry area where few plants grow. The Mojave Desert is the driest desert in North America. We live in the desert. We know all about desert, right? Did you give yourself a 1, 2, or 3 on that one? Hope you at least had a 2. Desert. If you need more time to write down desert, go ahead and pause the video here. We're going to move. All right. Our third word today, rainforest. Rainforest. How well do you know rainforest? Certainly not something that we have in the area in Las Vegas. Rainforest. Rainforest. Write it down and give yourself a rating. Rainforest, 3 syllables. Rainforest is a noun, and it means a thick tropical forest where a lot of rain falls. Okay? A thick tropical forest where a lot of rain falls. That's a rainforest. And rainforests are the Earth's oldest living ecosystems. If you have an interest in dinosaurs like my son does, then you probably see a lot of pictures of rainforests around dinosaurs. Though there were other environments they lived in, they're most commonly pictured in rainforests. Rainforest, noun meaning a thick tropical forest where a lot of rain falls. If you still need a little more time, go ahead and pause the video here. We're going to move to our next word. And our next word is vine. Vine. How well do you know vine? Vine. Vine, 1 syllable, is a noun, and it's a plant with a long stem that winds its way up trees or fences or runs along the ground. So we're talking about a vine that's a plant, not a vine that is something that you do on the internet. I think there's an app or something with vines. I'm old, so I wouldn't know. Noun, a plant with a long stem that winds its way up trees or fences or runs along the ground is a vine. Vines in rainforests can be woody and look like trees. So if you see in this picture, there's a tree in the middle here. It's the part that's standing straight up and down. But this thing that's wrapped around it that almost looks like a snake, that's a vine. It actually looks like several vines twisted together or maybe that have grown together. Vine. Vines can also be very windy. Poison ivy is a vine, right? Some roses grow on vines. Some wonderful, yummy things like grapes grow on vines. Vine. If you need more time for vine, go ahead and pause your video right here. We're going to move on. Our next word is weed. How well do you know what a weed is? Weed. Give yourself a 1, 2, or a 3. Weed, 1 syllable. It's a noun, and it's a plant that grows where it's not wanted. Are you surprised to hear that definition? Right? Because you'd think that weeds are something worse than that, but really any plant that grows where it's not wanted is considered a weed. So if you have the most beautiful flower in the world, but it's growing out of your roof, and maybe you don't want plants growing out of your roof, then that plant is a weed. Any plant that grows where it's not wanted is a weed. So in this example, in cities, weeds grow through cracks in pavement. Weed. Weed is our last word for today. If you need to go through the list again, please do so. Make sure that you have all of the words and definitions written down. You're going to need them on Wednesday when you add them to your My Vocabulary Notebook on MyNG Connect. I'll be talking to you tomorrow for some more academic vocabulary.